makes a lot of difference. We need them. I keep on. There's an NGO that I'm working with, Children Living with Cancer Foundation. We have been on it for almost 20 years. We're just finding our feet. In fact, what I'm going to pray today, Ma, is that many of these NGOs will come together so that we can push for people who are having cancer. I said people who are having cancer, those who are affected directly and those who are affected indirectly. Those of us taking care are affected indirectly. We go through a lot of stress because we don't have support. I went to a hospital in the US. That hospital is supported from beginning to the end by NGOs. A treatment in that hospital when you enter it is free from donations. As for donation in Nigeria today, it's like we are asking for, I don't know, God to come and speak to us directly.
Meanwhile, they're stealing billions every day. Now, Abigail, let me ask you, how much work is your foundation doing in the rural areas? Because I'm sure when you talk about lack of information, the rural areas are key in this because they don't know.
Okay, for now we're focusing on Lagos. We're a fairly new foundation, and also we're trying to put in place structures for sustainability. So it's really important if you're going to do a job like this that you make sure you do it right. Also, we're focusing on people who already have the disease. We find there's enough work being done on advocacy. That's not to say we don't do advocacy. But what you find is what happens to the patient once you've been diagnosed. That is the area most people are running from. People don't like giving money to people who have cancer because they think, what happens if they die? What happens is let me spend money on screening. Like I said earlier, we are not that crazy about mass screening because you're generating more cancer patients that the system cannot already cope with. We need to increase capacity, staffing, equipment. We need funds. We need people to say, okay, look, yes, we will support the cancer patients, because every time a mother dies, that is one generation that's destroyed. Second generation is suffering because the mother's been taken away from them. People's children are sitting at home because the parents can't pay the school fees. So we have to look at cancer a bit more holistically. It's by saving a mother, a father, you're guaranteeing the future of the second generation. So let's not look at paying for cancer patients as being, well, they're going to die anyway, so let's not bother. We really need people to donate generously, not just to equipment, but also to those on ground who want to survive, but there's no money. It's really important.
The man who doesn't have cancer may just step on the road and get hit by a bus. And he dies, and the cancer the patient is still alive.
But who says that if you don't have cancer today, tomorrow you can have cancer?
Exactly. Another cancer that is prevalent, well, not prevalent, please God, not prevalent, that is common in Nigeria, is prostate cancer. And I think you need to talk to the men about that.
Okay, so for prostate cancer, basically, it's the commonest male malignancy, even worldwide. It's not just a Nigerian thing. And for men, one thing is we always emphasize on screening, because the truth is that when cancer starts, it's not going to speak. It's asymptomatic. No pain, nothing. And the prostate is a hidden organ under the man's bladder. So by the time he's having symptoms, most likely there's already infiltration into surrounding structures there. So that's why we also always encourage men that are above 40 to go for their screening. It's called the PSA, prostatic specific antigen. It's just a blood test. And what it does is that it measures the particular level.
PSA?
PSA, prostatic specific antigen. So for men above 40, they should go for their screening. Once you are 40, you have to start, because one of the risk factors is, of course, increasing age, right? So, it's just a blood, yes, every year. It's just a blood draw, right? What happens is this small cancer cells, there's a particular hormone that is seed into the blood. So what we want to do is we just measure the levels. Once we see a rising level, we quickly intervene and we're able to cure. So people keep saying, cancer stigma. It's not stigma. Cancer is not a death sentence. Please.
Okay. So
her mother was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer.
Survived 33
years.
Not 3 years.
So now we have targeted treatments. Now we're treating cancer. We're going to the molecular level. We're going down to what is actually driving this cancer. So we shut it down. We starve the cancer to death. So science has gone way ahead. Now we're treating cancer like diabetes. that's the aim we should go for in Nigeria. Back in the developed world, they're treating it like chronic diseases, like diabetes, like hypertension, and you see people living for 33 years. So those are the things we need to change how we perceive cancer in this part of the world.
We need to go now, so we need to just take your last word on this.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would want to say that yes, early detection is the message.
Yeah.
And what does this mean?
An optimal care, right? So
many people will want to wait until they are having headache before they see the doctor. So,
like I mentioned earlier, that most of the time we want to pick cancer before it starts to speak. That's before it starts to produce symptoms. So when we get it early, for example, breast cancer, we say go for yearly mammograms once you are postmenopausal. We want to even catch it before it becomes a lump, right? And we get it out. In developed part of the world, you can get a cancer as small as 6 millimeters, and you treat her, and you're able to achieve cure.
At what level can we get it in Nigeria?
Mammograms. Women should go for mammograms. The type of cancer
every year.
Yes, every year. Okay. Now, why we encourage self-breast examination and other things is because the kind of cancers our women are having in this part of the world is premenopausal, before they get to menopause. So that's why we're saying check your breast, right? If there's anything abnormal, you need to scream. Get to the bottom of the issue. Then I always tell people that we need optimal care for cancer, right? You diagnose correctly, early diagnosis, and you treat optimally. We have in the UK one radiotherapy machine. The ratio is to 400 people.
Let me give you the ratio in Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm looking at the WHO figures now. We have a number of radiotherapy centers, 9.
Yes.
And number of radiation oncologists, 30.
Yes.
In a country of...
So now, for example, that could be from 2012. Right now, I'm a clinical and radiation oncologist. We're about 60. No. Right? And the good thing is that most of us already have international training to operate these advanced machines.
Which we're still waiting for.
Okay, so we should get
so we need the machines,
but the machines happen to
around. Right? Okay. So we need to set up this standard cancer centers, because the truth is that when you place a patient on chemotherapy and he's on the waiting list for radiotherapy, the cancer is not going to wait.
Exactly.
It's going to keep dividing. Then you come back and you tell me that is a death sentence. No. Yeah. When you give optimal treatment, the patient has a high chance of survival. Right?
Now, like we've said, early diagnosis ensure that the patient is likely to be cured. And so everybody should actually be examined. Indeed, I advocate that if you're a woman, start from your 30s to check yourself. Because in Nigeria, breast cancer will occur earlier than it occurs in other climes. And for other cancer, when you see a lump, when you see something abnormal, you go out to check yourself. I was taking a food one time, a type of food, and it was disturbing me. The first thing I thought of is this cancer. I went to get, because if it is discovered early, I can survive. And therefore, I started telling my colleagues, please come and look for this cancer. Where is it? I want to see it, and I want us to do something about it if it is there.
Okay.
So when it is there, you spend less to treat it. The chance that the treatment you are going to be giving is going to be effective is there. When it has spread and now come to hospital, doctors become helpless. The system become helpless.
All right. So,
quickly,
final word.
I would say is, for those who do have cancer, don't give up.
Yeah.
And also, it isn't a death sentence. My mother was the evidence of that. I'm still standing here. And also, for those who have loved ones with cancer, support them. Read about the disease, because if you don't understand, you're afraid. It is fear that's stopping a lot of people to go for treatment, and so we need to be educated. Let's read.
All right, knowledge is power. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We've been speaking with the consultant pediatric oncologist at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Edami Santemiye. Thank you for being here. Breast cancer survivor and founder of the Break-On Foundation, Abigail Simon Hart, and a clinical oncologist at LASUTH, Dr. Omodara Fatirigun. Thank you all for being here. And Sunrise will just go on a quick break. We'll be back in a moment.